In the summer of 2025, the Black Forest region of southwestern Germany baked under an unusual heat wave. The deep green pines seemed to wilt, their needles turning brittle, and the narrow valleys trapped the hot air like ovens. Tourists still came for the fairy tale villages and hiking trails, but fewer stayed long. Something felt off. Locals whispered about strange tracks in the mud. Hoofprints too large for any riding horse kept in the area, mixed with boot marks that carried the weight of men who moved like predators. Jakob Keller was 34, born and raised in Freiburg, but he had spent 10 years in Texas working oil rigs and breaking colts on a cousin's ranch near Amarillo. When his mother fell ill, he returned home to care for her and the old family farm outside Neustadt. The farm was small. 20 hectares of pasture, a few dairy cows, apple trees, and a weathered barn that smelled of hay and motor oil. Jakob kept one horse, a tall bay gelding named Ranger he had shipped over from America. The animal was out of place among the warm bloods and halflingers of the region, tall and raw-boned, with a long stride that ate ground like it was still chasing cattle across the Llano Estacado. Jakob wore faded Wranglers, scuffed Ariat boots, and a sweat-stained Stetson he refused to trade for a flat cap. People called him their cowboy behind his back, half mocking, half curious. He did mindestens he spoke little, worked hard, and drank alone at the Gasthaus on Friday nights, nursing a single Hefeweizen while watching soccer on the television with eyes that seemed to see something farther away. Trouble started quietly. First it was missing sheep. Not wolves left clean kills. These animals vanished without blood or wool scraps. Then a farmer near Hinterzarten found his tractor tires slashed, deep cuts that looked like they came from a heavy blade, not a knife. Someone painted crude skulls on the side of a barn in red spray paint. Old symbols no one recognized. Then the riders appeared. They came at dusk, 4 men on dark horses moving single file along the fire breaks that cut through the forest. They wore black dusters, wide-brimmed hats pulled low, and scarves over their faces. No one got a clear look at first. Hikers posted blurry phone videos online, ghostly shapes against the trees, horses kicking up dust on trails meant for mountain bikes. The clips spread fast on TikTok and Instagram with captions like, "WTF is happening in the Schwarzwald," and "Modern cowboys in Germany real or fake?" The police dismissed it as pranksters or a film crew without permits. But Jakob knew better. He had seen men ride like that before, low in the saddle, weight forward, reins loose but ready. These weren't tourists playing dress-up. One evening he rode Ranger along the old logging road that bordered his land. The sun was bleeding orange through the canopy when he heard them, hooves on packed earth, the soft jingle of metal. He pulled Ranger into the trees and waited. 4 riders passed. Their horses were big, rangy animals, not the sleek warm bloods locals favored. One man carried a long object wrapped in canvas across his saddle, probably a rifle. Another had saddlebags that bulged heavily. They spoke in Low German, accents thick with Bavarian edges, but their words carried the clipped rhythm of men used to giving orders. Jakob followed at a distance until they turned off toward an abandoned forester's cabin deep in the woods. He knew the place, boarded up since the 90s, roof half caved. Smoke rose thin from the chimney now. Someone had cleared the brush around it. He went home, cleaned his grandfather's old drilling rifle, a Mauser 98K converted to hunting caliber, and oiled the action. He didn't tell anyone. Not his mother, not the police. Some things a man handled himself. The next night the riders hit closer. They came for Jakob's herd. He heard the bawling of cows just after midnight. Ranger nickered in the barn, ears pricked. Jakob pulled on boots, grabbed the rifle, and slipped out the back door. Moonlight silvered the pasture. 3 riders circled the small group of dairy cows, pushing them toward the forest edge. One man swung a rope, trying to loop a lead cow. Jakob stepped into the open, rifle at his hip. "Das reicht," he called. Enough. The riders froze. The one with the rope turned his horse. Moonlight caught the scar running down his cheek. "You speak like an American," the scarred man said. His voice was calm, almost amused. "But this is Germany, cowboy. Go back to your porch." Jakob levered around into the chamber. The sound carried sharp in the still night. "These cows stay here. You ride out. Now." The scarred man laughed low. "You think one gun scares us? We have more. And we have business in these woods. Old business. Gold from the war hidden since 45. The forest keeps secrets, but we found the map. This land is in the way." Jakob's stomach tightened. He had heard the stories, Nazi gold trains, caches buried in the Black Forest by retreating SS units. Most were myths. But some weren't. Every few years treasure hunters dug up old bunkers or found rusted boxes. "You digging on my land?" Jakob asked. "Not yet. But we will. Move, or we move you." One of the other riders pulled a pistol. Moonlight gleamed on the slide. Jakob didst hesitate. He raised the Mauser and fired once into the ground between the horses. Dirt exploded. The animals reared. Cows bolted. "Cows!" The scarred man cursed and spurred his mount forward, drawing a long knife from his belt. Jakob worked the bolt, chambered another round, and aimed center mass. The shot cracked like thunder. The scarred man jerked, clutched his shoulder, and fell sideways from the saddle. His horse bolted into the trees. The other three hesitated. Jakob cycled the action again. "Next one does and miss," he said. They backed their horses, then turned and galloped into the dark. Jakob didst cheese. He checked the wounded man. The bullet had passed through the meat of the shoulder, painful but not fatal. He tied the man's hands with baling twine and dragged him to the barn. Then he called the police. By morning the story broke everywhere. Cowboy stops armed treasure hunters in Black Forest. Photos of Jakob in his Stetson standing beside Ranger went viral. The captured man talked fast once the Polizei arrived. His group had found an old SS map in a Munich auction, coordinates leading to a buried cache near Jakob's farm. They planned to dig quietly, sell the gold on the black market. They had already scared off 2 other landowners. The police found the forester's cabin stocked with tools, metal detectors, and 3 more rifles. They arrested 2 others who returned for their leader. The 4th escaped into the hills but was caught 2 days later trying to cross into Switzerland. The gold was real. Not a trainload, but enough bars stamped with Reichsadler, coins, jewelry. The state claimed most of it as wartime loot. Jakob received a finder's fee that paid off the farm mortgage and bought new fencing. But the real change came in the weeks after. Tourists arrived by the busload. They wanted selfies with der Cowboy. Kids asked to pet Ranger. A production company from Berlin offered money for his life rights. He turned them down. One evening a young woman from Hamburg showed up at the farm gate. She carried a camera bag and introduced herself as a freelance journalist. "I want to tell the real story," she said. "Not the viral version." The man behind the hat. Jakob leaned on the fence, watching the sunset paint the hills gold. "Ain't much story," he said. "Just a man protecting what's his." She smiled. "That's exactly the kind people want to hear." He thought about Texas. The endless sky, the dust, the feeling of being small against something bigger. Then he thought about the forest, dark and ancient, holding secrets older than any war. But both places demanded the same thing: stand your ground when it matters. "Coffee?" he asked. She nodded. They sat on the porch while Ranger grazed nearby. Jakob told her about the oil fields, the long drives moving cattle, the night a tornado tore through the panhandle and he rode up to bring in strays. He told her about coming home to a mother who barely remembered his name some days. About the quiet that settled over the farm after his father died young. She listened without interrupting. When he finished, she said, "You could have run. Called the police first. You didst." "Some things don't wait," he replied. The article went online a month later. No clickbait headline. Just, the cowboy of the Black Forest. It spread slower than the videos but deeper. People shared it because it felt true. Not flashy. Not fake. Just a man, a horse, and a line he wouldn't let anyone cross. Years passed. The heatwave broke. Lane returned to the forest. Jakob still wore the Stetson, still rode ranger along the old trails. Sometimes kids from the village came to help with chores, wide-eyed, asking questions about guns and gold and the Wild West. He never told them everything. Some stories were better left half-told. But on quiet nights, when the moon hung full over the pines, he would saddle up and ride the firebreaks alone. Not looking for trouble. Just listening to the rhythm of hoofs on earth, feeling the weight of the rifle across his back. In Germany, in the 21st century, a cowboy still rode. And the forest remembered.